We're going to start here. If you need to start with identifying the players, here's some tools to think about. A lot of times when people think about identifying the players, sometimes when I'm doing coaching, I hear that the salesperson has really not even laid out the names of the people at like a zero baseline. Maybe they haven't done that. Maybe what they've done is they've taken a list of the characters, the cast of characters, the people, they've listed them out. This is a fine thing to go do. This is, I find that when you do this way and you just make like a Excel sheet and you put down the names of the people, what their role is, impact, it's nice, but it's kind of flat, okay? A few years ago, I started using a tool called a relationship map. A relationship map, I'll explain this in detail with you, but it's kind of a visual representation of the cast of characters and the people, but a little bit more 3D to me. It has more context, more texture, more character to it. What it involves is basically a list of the relationships, how they're connected together, whether it's a straight line, like dotted line, and it's an influencer. Like sometimes I'm an influencer in a software sale, of all things, because a VP of sales will come to me and say, hey, we're thinking about implementing this software over here. Have you heard of it? What do you know of it? Do you have other clients using it? Well, that salesperson selling that enablement platform has no idea that I'm an influencer in their sale, but I'd be dotted line to maybe the decision maker, and that salesperson usually has no idea. In a relationship map, maybe we're asking enough questions that we identify the people that are influencers in the sale, okay? It's kind of like an org chart, but with a twist. An org chart is a very formal structure. And by the way, how many of you have ever gotten an org chart from your client or prospect? They've given you an org chart. About 10% of the room's raising their hand, okay? So that's a nice thing to go get. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice thing to go get, but it tends to be a more formal relationship, and what you miss are all the informal, whatever, right? You get the idea. So all of the less formal pieces of the relationship. In a relationship map, you start to see other things. Who's going to lunch with who? Who's an advocate for you? If you go back to this over here, one of the things you'll see is that these are green and gray. Gray may mean that you haven't met them yet. Yellow is they're sort of neutral. Red might be that they're against you. Their advocacy, which, by the way, if you haven't had a chance, take accounts that you have, relationships, build an advocacy score, maybe +5, -5. 0 would be neutral, or you don't know. And what this starts to build for you is the context of how people are supporting you or not supporting you in this relationship map. It gives you more of the reality versus the theory of what's going on within an account. And it usually contains a few pieces of information like this, okay, the name, the title, the role, what their function is within the organization, their personality, what personality style, how are you going to adapt, the advocacy. I've probably over the last couple of years built 30 plus of these with clients. I'm 30 for 30 when we build it and we go through the process of finding something significant within the account that we were going to miss had we not gone through the mental exercise of building out a relationship map. It might be the seller typically meets with the VP of finance, and yet we realize that we haven't identified who that person is or met them. It might be a new player that's entered the playing field, and we haven't had a chance to meet him yet. It might be somebody that we haven't spoken with in 90 or 180 days, but yet has been positive influence in the past. They might know things. Nothing bad happens when you take a few minutes on a key account to go put this together, okay? And here's some tools you can go use. I wanted to put this in the deck for you guys to be able to go pull from. All kinds of different ways I've seen people go do this. In fact, we have a partner, Octus IQ. They have one as well. I just learned that yesterday. Awesome. Go see them about it as well. There's so many different ways for you to go build these. I would encourage you to identify people. This is just one tool that a lot of people that have more complex accounts are missing out on in terms of building out the ability to look 3D onto an account.
Thank you for watching this highlight video from the Sandler Summit. You can join us for the next Sandler Summit in 2024, March 19th and 20th at the Orlando World Center Marriott. Register now at sandler.com/summit.